Hey everyone, my name is Jessie and welcome back to my channel. So for this week's video, I'm going to be making some delicious orange scones with a maple orange glaze. And I am using the recipe from Magnolia Table. This is the first one. And you guys, these is simple and delicious and I cannot wait to show you. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so to a large bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, along with 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to dump that right into our flour mixture and just give that a good mix. Okay, that looks really good, and so now we're just going to set this to the side until we're ready to use it. Okay, so in another bowl, I am taking 3/4 cup of sour cream along with 1 egg that I lightly beaten just so it's easier to mix together. Make sure you get every bit of that sour cream and just give that a good whisk until it's nice and incorporated. Okay, that looks really good, and so now we're going to set this to the side so we're ready to use it. So a lot of prep work goes into this, but it's definitely worth it. Okay, so next we are basically going to be making like a orange sugar, and so I am taking 1/2 cup of sugar along with 1 teaspoon of orange zest, and I'm just going to mix that together and kind of break up any lumps that the orange zest has formed, just so it's nice and infused sugar with that orange. Okay, so to our dry mixture, we're going to add that orange sugar that we just mixed together, and look how beautiful and amazing that looks, and it's so fragrant. It's absolutely delicious. And I'm just going to give that a good whisk. Okay, once that's mixed together, I'm going to add 1.5 sticks of cold butter. Like, it needs to be really cold, like right from the fridge or like right from the freezer, because when it's cold, that is what forms the flakiness and the deliciousness of your scones. Okay, and I'm just using a pastry cutter and I'm cutting the butter into the dry mixture. And I'm just doing this until it forms like nice crumbly bits, like as you see here now in the bowl, like a coarse meal basically. Okay, and so next we're going to add that sour cream egg mixture into our dry mixture and give that a good mix using a wooden spoon. And I'm just mixing this until I basically no longer see any dry ingredients, dry pockets. Just want to make sure everything's nice and incorporated and mixed well together. Just like that, it looks really good. Everything looks moistened. And as you can tell, it's a little sticky still, and so I'm adding just a little bit more flour just so it's easier to work with. You don't want it too dry, but you don't want it too sticky. And yes, I'm using my hands. As long as your hands are clean, then it's perfectly fine to use them. And I'm just forming our dough basically like this. And I'm just flouring my work surface. And I'm just like kind of forming a ball basically. Not necessarily kneading it, but just kind of bringing it together. And I'm taking my bench paper and dividing the dough in half just so it's easier to work with. And now I'm going to form that into another like circle ball. And then we are going to take a bench paper and cut those into 4s. You can make them as big or as small as you like. I just decided to cut them in half and then cut those in half, so I'm just making 4 scones from each batch. Okay, so now I'm just going to put them on a baking sheet lined with some parchment paper, and then I'm just going to do the same thing with the other half of my dough. Okay, and so I have my scones. I'm going to put them in the oven at 400 degrees for about 13 to 15 minutes. Okay, so while that is cooking, I'm going to be making the maple orange glaze. So I'm taking 1 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of orange zest, 3 tablespoons of melted butter, 3 tablespoons of orange juice, Just pour that in, and then I'm going to add half a teaspoon of maple syrup, and to that I added 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And just giving that a good whisk until it forms this delicious glaze. Oh my gosh, you guys, this glaze is so delicious. You can put it on donuts, pancakes, anything. It's so delicious. I highly recommend making it. Okay, and so I just pulled our scones out of the oven, and I gave them plenty of time to cool down. You definitely do not want to glaze them when they're hot, otherwise the glaze is just going to fall off the scones. So let them cool down, and then you can glaze them. And so I'm just pouring the delicious glaze all over our delicious scones. And there you have it. Okay, and there you have it, some delicious orange scones with a maple orange glaze. And you guys, this recipe is absolutely delicious. You know, spring is around the corner and you want something nice and light and refreshing, and this is definitely one of those types of recipes. And so I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to click that subscribe button along with that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos of mine. But until next time, I will see y'all later. Bye.